let's bring in now Amanda Berman, a civil rights attorney, as well as founder and executive director of the Zioness movement. Amanda, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. We just heard Ryan's report there. Do you think these university presidents need to step down?
Well, what I think is that those who are considering what should happen next ask themselves what they would want to happen if this were an incident of explosive anti-Blackness or Islamophobia or xenophobia or misogyny or homophobia or transphobia or any other form of hate. It seems really clear that there is a double standard when it comes to protecting the Jewish community. And after a 400% explosion in anti-Semitism since October 7th, the fact that campuses are, allowing this kind of this climate to explode this way without actually taking any steps or even showing human empathy for the Jewish students who are experiencing this hostile environment, it's really a challenge. It's something we need to take really seriously.
And Amanda, a lot of people feel exactly like you. They do feel there is a double standard. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there's a total misunderstanding about the Jewish experience and the possibility of Jews being vulnerable. There's been a real question about the humanity of the Jewish people since October 7th, people celebrating the attacks as if, we're not even human beings that can be victims. And so, given that there is an institutionalization of dehumanization of Jews that are, part of the history of anti-Semitic tropes, and we know that these tropes have been embedded in academia and frankly, in the global left over many decades, I think there's a real misunderstanding about the seriousness of this threat, both to Jewish life and frankly, to all marginalized communities and to democracy itself when anti-Semitism goes unchecked.
And Amanda, I do want to talk about, the tropes that may be embedded kind of into society in just a moment. But first, we hear so much talk about the right to free speech. How can these situations on campuses be better handled from your perspective, while also, respecting students' right to protected speech?
I really appreciate this question. I don't think we're having this conversation enough. I think that the question of, is it a violation of campus harassment policies to call for genocide is a pretty vague question. And I know that sounds ridiculous because, of course, a call for genocide, any call for genocide is abhorrent and should be immediately condemned. But we understand as the Jewish community language, for example, like from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, to be a call for genocide. And to be clear, this is language that's been used by Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, leaders of Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, who are the architects of October 7th. So this is language that is extremely triggering for the Jewish community. And we believe absolutely to be a call for genocide of the Jewish people. Having said that, there is language that a lot of people on campus are using that they themselves don't understand. So I think being able to distinguish between pure speech and expressive conduct, abhorrent speech that is not directed at anyone, that is from one student, potentially walking down the middle of campus, for example, without targeting anyone with it, just walking and saying it into the air, versus a group of students speaking directly to Jewish students and actually, infringing in some way on their rights or their ability to participate in the campus. And, Title VI, which is really the primary law that applies to make sure that campus climates are safe for members of protected classes, including the Jewish community, says that if there is a pervasively hostile environment on campus, the university could lose federal funding. And, there are lots of remedies available for those who experience a hostile environment. So, thinking through where a free speech right ends and another, you have a free speech right until your exercise of speech, including expressive conduct, is infringing on someone else's right to enjoy that campus climate. And so, that's the balance that we need university administrators and presidents to do a much better job of addressing.
Amanda, I don't have a lot of time, but I do want to get back to, you mentioned the tropes there. And I've heard so many times people saying what we're seeing isn't necessarily new. It's just that people now feel comfortable publicly expressing these thoughts. How do we get on a path to healing?
Well, this is a great question. And I think this is the primary issue with the testimony is that instead of saying as a leader, I've heard these calls, they are despicable, we cannot allow this kind of language on campus. We stand with the Jewish community. Here are the steps that we are taking to educate, to help people understand what it is that they're saying and what it is that they're hearing. This is a moment of opportunity. This is a chance to educate people on the Jewish experience and on anti-Semitism and the threat that it faces. We just need leaders to actually stand up and do that work.
A really intelligent conversation. Amanda Berman, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.